Obviously, you would like to know how to master the grading system so that you can get the grade that you desire in this class. There will be 3 exams, each worth 20% of the final grade. The third exam will have some cumulative material and is the final, so there aren't 3 exams plus a final. The third exam is the final. If you're wondering what is on each exam, you should refer to the first folder in Blackboard, and from there you should go into the folder titled Test Objectives, because there are lists of the questions which will be asked on the exam. For the exam questions, which are short answer, the objectives will begin with words like describe, explain, or give, and the question that you will see on the exam will be word for word from this sheet. Other objective questions will begin with words like distinguish, or match, or put these in order, and these will be multiple choice questions. So when you take the exam, no questions will surprise you since they are all from this objective list. But in order to help you prepare more, the same folder which has the objectives also has sample written questions, which should help you prepare and will give you sample multiple choice questions, for example. And there is a folder which will have a video review in which I go through each and every objective and say, here's the question and here's, the answer or how you could correctly answer the question. Perhaps the best way to study for the exam will be described again in a second, because for each unit there is a folder titled Exploring the Past. These question sets are part of the grade, as I will explain in just a minute. However, they should help you study. These questions either are directly incorporated into test questions or help you review major points, which students sometimes have trouble with. And so, although you will be graded for doing these question sets, you are in effect studying when you go through these question sets. So in other words, you're getting points for studying. So between knowing what the questions are, because you will have objectives provided for you, having sample questions, having reviews of each and every objectives, and having question sets that you can use to practice and actually earn points while you study, the exam should go well for you. If you find that an exam does not go as well for you as you would like, then for the first 2 exams, you may take a retest. And if you do better on the retest than you did on the original exam, the 2 grades will be averaged together. If 60% of the course grade is exams, what is the other 40%? Well, 15% of the final grade is determined by a series of 15 journals. During fall and spring semesters, these average out to be about weekly journals. During the summer, you should complete 5 journals over a 2-week period. These journals offer you a chance to cover some of the material more in depth and help prepare you for exams. These question sets typically begin with a video. So inside the question you can watch a video and then answer questions based on that video. At the end of taking this question set, you will receive a grade. These question sets, however, allow you to retake them and the maximum score is kept. So if you take a question set a couple of times, let's say you get a 60% the first time, or an 80% the second time. If on the third attempt you get 100%, then your grade for this journal is 100. Some of the journals involve written questions, and if you type your essay answer, then when I get to it, typically the next day, I'll grade it and let you know if there was anything missing in your answer. Most answers are fine. And so these 15 points on the final grade, if you simply work at them, you should get 100 because the question sets keep your maximum score and you can retake these journal question sets until you get the maximum score. You'll note that the journals are broken into 3 groups. 5 accompany Unit 1, 5 accompany Unit 2, and 5 accompany Unit 3. You need to complete these journals during Unit 1 or Unit 2 or Unit 3 because they will eventually close. You can't work on Unit 1 journals at the end of the course during Unit 3. You need to work on them in Unit 1. 15% of the final grade will be based on question sets which are in folders titled Exploring the Past. So there is an Exploring the Past 1 folder in Unit 1, Exploring the Past 2 folder in Unit 2, and 1 in Unit 3. These question sets are graded, but once again, they allow multiple takes and the maximum score is kept. So one could get a perfect score for this 15% of the final grade if you simply try them enough times. You're asked the same questions over and over again, simply that the question order will be changed each time. Now, these help you prepare for the exams. And so, if you read the material or watch the videos on, say, fossil invertebrates, you should then take the Exploring the Past question sets on fossil invertebrates and get an idea on how you've mastered these points. If you, say, take this question set once and then take it a second time to get a higher grade, when you take the exam, then you will note that you would have seen these questions before, having gone through the Exploring the Past question sets. And so taking these question sets gives you points for studying. You will do better on the proctored exam you take in class because of these online exams you take at home. 60% of the course grade are the proctored exams that you'll either take in class or, if you're a distance student, take in a testing center at the college. 15% are based on journals, 15 of these. 15% is based on the sum of the Exploring the Past question sets. And the final 10% is based on a trip to the Museum of Natural History in New York City. What the instructions given here in Blackboard ask you to do is to simply visit a number of exhibits throughout the museum, make a sketch of what you see, and answer a few questions. If you simply do this, then your notes and sketches as you leave the museum are all I ask you to do. You don't have to rewrite it. Simply attach your ticket, and this is your museum project worth 10% of the grade. You should have an absolutely wonderful time. If you find yourself unable to visit the Museum of Natural History, you do have the possibility of completing a research paper, about 10 pages, and you would speak to me and approve the topic. But the trip to the Museum of Natural History would probably be far more enjoyable and take much less time, so I highly recommend that. And so between the exams, the journals, the Exploring the Past question sets, and the museum project, whose instructions are here in Blackboard, this describes the 100 points of the course. Please let me know if you have any questions whatsoever.